Welcome to City Roundup, brought to you by the City of Pensacola, with your host, Saida Rosa. City Roundup is your one-stop shop for everything having to do with the City of Pensacola. And now, Saida.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us for another episode of City Roundup. I'm your host, Saida Rosa, with the City of Pensacola. The official start of the Atlantic hurricane season begins tomorrow. Mayor Grover Robinson and the city want to make sure you and your family are prepared for it. So we begin our show with a PSA from the mayor.
Hello, I'm Pensacola Mayor Grover Robinson. Living next to the Gulf is no doubt one of the reasons we love Pensacola. But with all the perks that come with our emerald water views, it does mean we're susceptible to tropical storms and hurricanes. Whether a permanent resident or a valued visitor, you need to be prepared in case of a storm, no matter the category. First, have a plan for your family. That includes knowing your zone and following evacuation orders. If you've been ordered to evacuate in Escambia County, we expect your compliance. So identify somewhere your family and your pets will go beforehand. It can be a friend or a family's house outside of the evacuation zone, a hotel, or at last resort, a public shelter. Second, make a hurricane kit for your family. You know the saying, the first 72 are on you. If we get hit by a storm, emergency services could be affected. So have enough food, water, and supplies for each person to last 3 days or longer. You'll also want to have flashlights, a first aid kit, and a battery-operated radio. Your normal communication methods could be impacted, which may mean going back to the basics. And finally, stay informed. Monitor the storm, know how to get official information, and sign up for emergency alerts. We want to keep you and your family safe this season. The City of Pensacola is working closely with Escambia County and our other emergency partners to ensure that. For more information, visit our website, cityofpensacola.com/be ready.
If you're on social media, make sure to follow Mayor Robinson. Just search Pensacola Mayor on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Tomorrow we will celebrate the opening of the new playground at Parker Circle Park. Tonya, Vaden, and John Scanlon traveled to the park to host this week's news show. They give us details on the event. They also tell us why Forbes magazine featured Pensacola. Those topics and more coming up right now.
Welcome back to another episode of Our City News Show. I'm your host, John Scanlon.
And I'm Tonya Vaden, and we're on scene at Parker Circle Park to tell you about another playground opening.
We've celebrated ribbon-cutting events at Hitzman Optimus Park, Armstrong Park, and on June 1st, we'll have another here at Parker Circle Park.
The event begins at 10 a.m. Mayor Grover Robinson and District 2 Councilwoman Sherry Myers will be here to help kick things off. The new playground features new climbers, slides, and interactive elements for all ages. So again, please join us on June 1st at 10 a.m. to celebrate the opening. Parker Circle Park is located at 601 Parker Circle. 3 down, 2 to go. The other parks receiving new playgrounds are Springdale Park and Tierra Verde Park.
Great news for the Port of Pensacola. American Magic is extending its stay. The New York Yacht Club sailing team plans to bring another full-size sailing boat and a bigger team with more sailors when they return in October. The team began using the Port of Pensacola as a training base late last year. American Magic is the U.S. competitor for the 36th America's Cup happening in 2021.
It appears Forbes magazine has figured out our secret. The American Business magazine recently featured Pensacola on its website for its rich history. Real estate reporter Brenda Richardson wrote about the home where 16th century Spanish artifacts were found because the home is up for sale. The magazine even featured the city's new tagline. The article states the discovery is so far-reaching that the City of Pensacola announced in April a new tagline and the official image, Florida's First and Future, celebrating where Florida's history began and capturing the city's promising path ahead.
If you've ever wanted to learn to row, we have a great opportunity for you. The Pensacola Rowing Club is hosting a free Learn to Row event at Bayview Park on June 1st. That's National Learn How to Row Day. If you're an adult, the row class begins at 8 a.m. If you're interested in having your kid try, their class begins at 10 a.m. You can visit PensacolaRowing.org for more details.
Before we go, Parks and Rec has a wide variety of specialty camps to help your child enhance and develop their skills over the summer. We offer dance and performing arts camps at Gull Point Resource Center and several sports camps at various locations in June and July, including the Chip Bowes Championship Basketball Camp, Girls Volleyball, North Pensacola Optimist Club Soccer Camp, and Roger Scott Tennis Camps. Plus, don't forget about our summer day camps at Gull Point, Fricker, Cobb, and Woodland Heights Resource Centers. Registration details are available online at playpensacola.com.
That's all we have for you on this episode of our City News Show. We thank you for watching, and we will see you
Next week.
On this edition of City Spotlight, we take you to Hollice T. Williams Park to show you some of the new additions. Parks and Recreation Director Brian Cooper tells us about the games you can play at the park and what's in its future.
Hollice T. Williams it's a linear park. It starts downtown and works its way up to Savannah's, then stalls and then picks back up and goes all the way up here almost to McGee Field. Hi, I'm Brian Cooper, the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Pensacola. Hollice T. Williams was an educator here in town, African-American educator. His son, Larry Williams, actually works for the park system, so it's pretty exciting to have Larry on the team, and this park means a lot to him and his family's brothers and sisters. It's used for a variety of purposes. We have 3 tennis courts here that we just got through resurfacing. For the first time, we've also added pickleball lines to all 3 courts, so we're real excited about that. Pickleball is a variation of tennis, badminton. It's played on a much smaller court. You can see the blue lines on the court, usually singles or doubles. Normally the first server would serve from this side, the right side over to the left side, landing in the service zone, the no volley zone. It's big deal nationwide. You're starting to see state and regional competitions, national tournaments. It's just a great game. If we can continue to invest in this park, we feel like we can help bring both sides of the interstate together. We have walking path all the way around the park. We hope to improve that to make that more walkable and bikeable in the near future. People are out here every day playing basketball. Our summer, our pool is busting at the seams. So this is a great little area. Want people to come out and try the pool, try the tennis courts, try pickleball, shoot baskets, and just enjoy the Hollice T. Williams corridor.
For more episodes of City Spotlight and News Show, visit our YouTube channel. Search City of Pensacola. We'll be right back after this.
Heating water with electricity versus natural gas can cost twice as much, and tankless natural gas water heaters can add even more savings. So don't get soaked with higher energy costs. Learn more at PensacolaEnergy.com.
Natural gas homes are in demand. Here's what home builders have to say.
The natural gas cooking, as well as the fireplace and the atmosphere that you have on a really nice, well-designed lanai, you can entertain real well. It's very comfortable. People are real homey there, and we find the lanai to be a real design feature, along with having the natural gas to implement that.
Natural gas from Pensacola Energy, the clean, reliable, earth-friendly choice.
We now turn to our green tip of the week. Buy a reusable water bottle. Commit to using less plastic by buying a reusable rather than single use. The city is looking for great people to be a part of our team. This week's featured job is for a neighborhood administrator. The person who fills this role will be responsible for managerial, professional, and administrative work in the Office of Neighborhoods. This is a new position. Learn more and apply at PensacolaCityJobs.com. Some food for thought for your Friday. In this episode of Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, host John Scanlon from Pensacola Energy shows us how to use natural gas to make crab and crawfish cakes.
On this episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, we're making crab and crawfish cakes. Stick around and find out how it's done.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites. I'm your host, John Scanlon, and we have a very special guest today. We have our marketing coordinator, Maria Stolfi, and she's picked a recipe out of the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, The Taste of Pensacola. What are you cooking for us today, Maria?
I'm making crab and crawfish cakes. So let's get started, right? So, of course, start off with turning your burner on. Go with a medium-high heat because you want to start with your butter first. Go ahead and let that melt completely. So then you're going to put in your peppers, red, yellow, and your celery. Now those are going to get tender completely, and you'll know whenever your peppers start to smell. That is the best way you'll know.
So basically you're just cooking them down.
Yes, of course. So add in your peppers and your celery. Just mix that in.
And that's about 2 tablespoons worth of each?
Yeah, 2 tablespoons of each. And right now it kind of seems like a lot for crab cakes. But when you mix everything together, you'll see that it's not a lot. And at the end, it does add a little bit of crunch to your crab cakes. And it doesn't take a lot to have them cook down. If you're kind of in a hurry, just turn up the heat a little bit. If you like a little bit of extra crunch to your cakes, don't let the vegetables cook as long. So once these cook down just a little bit, then you'll add your Old Bay seasoning and your blackening seasoning. Now you can add any type of blackening seasoning. Some people like Tony Satcher's. My favorite is Slap Your Mama. I just like saying it, but it is my specialty. So you'll add your blackening seasoning and your Old Bay. The Old Bay is going to bring out the extra flavor in the seafood when you add that later. And when you mix it in, it is going to feel like you're stirring around sand with your with your vegetables. That is completely normal. When I first made this recipe, I thought it was a little weird. But just stir it around, it's completely normal. And make sure it evenly coats all the veggies that are in there. Once it's evenly coated, go ahead and add your shrimp stock. Shrimp stock is kind of hard to find. You can also substitute it for fish stock or lobster stock. And this is about 1/4 cup. So that will deglaze a little bit. It will kind of kick back at you. So let that cook for about a minute. And this is a very different way of cooking crab cakes. Usually when you cook crab cakes, you just kind of mix everything into a mixing bowl at first. So this is a very different way of cooking it with a little bit of a wetter way to mix it. But once we get into the mixing part, you will see the crab cakes kind of form together. So once this is done kind of cooking, then you'll add your seafood, which is lump crab and your crawfish, also known as crawdaddies. Shout out to Jim. So throw that in there. And then you'll mix that around. Make sure that the seasoning is coated completely with your crab. The crawfish will have its own flavor of spice, but make sure that the crab meat is completely coated in your seasoning. Smells good, doesn't it?
It smells excellent. So are the peppers already tender, or is it just kind of still cooking? Or
they're definitely tender now. Mm-hmm. And like I said, if you wanted a little bit of extra crunch to your crab cake, go ahead and just throw the peppers in and just start throwing in your blackening seasoning and everything. Some people like a little crunch to their crab cakes, and sometimes you want them a little bit softer. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, this is on about medium-high heat.
Throw that over some rice and we're good, right?
Exactly. This is a very good mixture. Okay, so once this is simmered down a little bit, we're going to turn down the heat to simmer. You can turn it completely off because we're going to add it into the mixing bowl, which it doesn't really specify in the recipe. It just says to cool a little bit. So I put it in the mixing bowl, kind of figured that out the hard way at first. So we're going to add that into the mixing bowl. Put it back on the burner. The good thing about cooking with gas is that you can really control your heat. So now we have it in our mixing bowl. Add the panko. And then it says to lightly beat your egg. Of course, when you mix it together, you're lightly beating your egg. So we're just gonna fold in your panko. and your egg. So as you're mixing it, it's going to cool down a little bit so you can actually form your cakes. If your mixture is a little bit wet, you can always add more panko crumbs. The recipe calls for a cup, but if it's a little bit wet, you see that the cakes aren't going to stick, just add more panko. Now egg is like the glue for cooking. So now that it's sticking together, roll up those sleeves, and now you're ready to make your cakes. So depending on how you like your cakes made, it calls for 3. You can always, 3 is like a little bit big, but depending on your crowd, you can make them smaller. So I always like to start off, because I'm full Italian, so you can start off with a meatball and kind of flatten them out and make them into a disc, just like that. And flatten them out and make them into a disc. Just like so.
Excellent.
Then you can put them back onto your skillet.
Now, do you want that on simmer, or do you want a little higher? Or?
Well, right now, since you're trying to control your heat and make your disc, you can put them on simmer.
Okay.
My chef in culinary school always taught me, if you're not really paying attention to your pot, always start your gas off on simmer. It's where you're not paying attention to it, keep it on simmer, it's not really cooking. Then whenever you're ready to watch it again, crank up the heat. And the tighter you make your crab cakes, the more they're gonna stick together. So don't be afraid to put your muscle into it.
Look like hamburgers.
Right? Now panko crumbs compared to breadcrumbs are a little bit more crunchier. So if you ever forget to go to the grocery store and forget your panko crumbs, your breadcrumbs are gonna be tasting more like a hamburger than a panko crumb. All right. So now that I'm paying attention, I'm gonna crank up the heat a little bit more. All right, now we got the heat turned up just a little bit more. We're about to flip these puppies over. You really just want to keep them about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, depending how big your crab cake is. So you can just hold it on one side and just flip it over. And really, whenever you're about to flip it over, just make sure you're pressing it down just a little bit, because you really want that inside to be cooked all the way through. You don't want it hard on the outside corners and then mushy in the inside. Now that the heat is up, just give them about 2 to 3 minutes on one side, and then just make sure you secure, and then we're gonna go ahead and flip them over and just pat them down on one side, because you wanna make sure that they're well cooked in the middle. You don't wanna leave them super mushy in the middle. So just almost like a Krabby Patty. All right, there we go. 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Flatten them down.
So we're 2.5 minutes away from plating these things.
Exactly. And they're smelling really good too. All right, now these are ready. So go ahead and pick your favorite plate in the house. And these are ready. Now if you have like a house specialty remoulade sauce, go ahead and serve that up, or however you want to do it.
They look fantastic, Marie, and this recipe was found in the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, A Taste of Pensacola. That's a cookbook with 25 years of history from the Fiesta Seafood Grill at the Pensacola Seafood Festival. That's where local chefs have all put their time and energy in preparing foods for everybody. And they put the recipes in this book, and you can buy it for $15. All the proceeds go to the Escambia Utility Assistance Program to help the elderly pay their utility bills. Give us a call, 850-436-5050. Pick yours today, and you can be making crawfish and crab cakes very soon.
This has been Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
That's all we have for this episode of City Roundup. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you same place, same time, next week.
This has been City Roundup with Saida Rosa. City Roundup is the City of Pensacola's one-stop shop for everything having to do with Pensacola. Join us again each Friday at 8 a.m. for more of City Roundup.